marching through the chaos with unyielding pride. Gunners by my shoulder with a rising tide. The world can try to break us, but we'll never fall. Parents standing tall, we've answered the call. Raise the flag, we won't back down. With hearts of fire, we'll take this town. United voices, loud and clear. The Punisher's call, you've gotta hear. Fight for what's right, never lose our ground. Every heartbeat pounding with a roaring sound. Through the fire, through the rain, we're standing strong. Together we'll rewrite the wrong. Raise the flag, we won't back down. With hearts of fire, we'll take this town. United voices, loud and clear. The Punisher's call, you've gotta hear.
Came with force, ripped us apart, no reason. Stripping our lives, committing treason. They got no soul, laws bending, they're breaking. Down the barrel of injustice, we're aching. Stand up, heads high, screaming tonight. Rights ain't paper, they burn, but fight. Chains of their greed won't hold us long. Through their lies, we'll prove them wrong. Choke kick, that trail money's their god. Corruption runs deep where justice is fraud. Kids torn like roots from the ground. In this storm, our voice is loud. Steel drums clash, lightning fills the air. Won't sit silent, breathe despair. Tides turning, we bring the flame. Burn their system, break the game. Stand up, heads high, screaming tonight. Rights ain't paper, they burn, but fight. Chains of their greed won't hold us long. Through their lies, we'll prove them wrong. Constitution bleeding, pages unfurled. Freedom crushed by their darkened world. We're warriors, we're writing a new creed. No backing down, planting the seed. Stand up, heads high, screaming tonight. Rights ain't paper, they burn, but fight. Chains of their greed won't hold us long. Through their lies, we'll prove them wrong. Constitution, bleeding pages unfurled. Freedom crushed by their darkened world. We're warriors, we're writing a new creed. No backing down, planting the seed. Constitution bleeding, pages unfurled. Freedom crushed by the darkened world. We're warriors, we're writing a new creed. No backing down, planting the seed.
In the heart of our great nation, where the strength of our communities is built upon the foundation of strong and loving families, an urgent crisis is unfolding. Child Protective Services, CPS, an institution designed to safeguard our most vulnerable, has in many cases betrayed its noble mission. Too often, families are torn apart not by neglect or abuse, but by systemic failures and corruption. We can no longer stand idly by as these injustices continue. We are here to give a voice to those who have been isolated, to shine a light on the corruption, and to rally our fellow citizens in this critical fight for justice. Every day, countless families are caught in a web of bureaucracy and abuse of power, their lives disrupted and their bonds shattered. Children, who should be nurtured and protected, are instead placed in situations that can be just as, if not more, harmful than the circumstances from which they were taken. Parents, often bewildered and powerless, face insurmountable odds as they fight to reunite with their children. This is not the America we believe in. We cannot allow these injustices to persist. Our mission is to educate, to inform, and to inspire action. We promise to bring you daily updates on CPS, exposing the truth and fighting for reform. We must remember that the future of our nation depends on the strength and unity of our families. By standing together, we can hold CPS accountable and ensure that it fulfills its true purpose, protecting children and preserving families. This is a fight we must not and will not lose. We are committed to saving our families and securing a brighter future for all. The road ahead is challenging, but with your support, we can make a difference. Together, we will bring hope to those who have lost it and ensure that justice prevails. Let us unite with unwavering resolve and a sense of patriotic duty to safeguard the integrity of our families and the future of our nation.
Good evening. Welcome to the Late Show, guys. Let's see your war face. Ah! That's right. Let's see your war face. Congratulations, guys. Yeah, the Constitution is coming back in full force. There's all sorts of news going on from Tennessee, Memphis, Tennessee. There's a massive thing in the largest prison that's going on, riots that are going on there. Austin, Texas. Of course, Los Angeles, California, and everything that's going on. 700 Marines have been deployed. It is time that this stuff has just got to stop. Welcome to Late Show. Once again, thanks for joining us. Our fearless leader will be with us here shortly. Had to take care of a few things real quick, but I did speak to him, so we're going to keep things on track and just keep kicking ass and taking names. So I want to discuss a little bit with you. I got a message from one of the followers on one of my Facebook pages, and actually sent me some evidence over here. She had just recently got through a case where her kids were taken away, and wondered why one of her friends actually took and lied on her about some of the shit being real creative and coming up with all sorts of false evidence. And her friend texted her back and said, you know, the CPS worker said that if I didn't cooperate and frame you, that they were going to take my kids. Oh yeah, guys, it's that fucking bad out there that these people are intimidating other people and this, that, and says, well, if you work with us, we'll make you more money. We'll give you about $3,000 or $4,000 a month and you can have her kids, but it allows me access to come in there. And if you don't, I can fabricate stuff on you the same way I did to them. Wow. I mean, what do you guys think about that stuff? I mean, it's crazy. This is absolutely getting out of control. They're getting that desperate to actually do that. And this is just absolutely nuts, guys. I mean, if you've got to get to that point and they come in, what do I do? I said, take it right to the FBI, Department of Justice, turn it over. That's witness tampering. Like huge witness tampering. I mean, if you're talking about intimidating somebody and coercing somebody to even give false testimony of stuff like that, to steal children and intimidate over this. And like, here's the text messages, like, take that straight to the feds. That is mass corruption. That is enough to like throw people in jail. I mean, with this person, hey, did you text us? Yeah, this is what I was told. Those are two. I didn't do this. I mean, that changes a lot of things. But see, this is why most people don't understand. This is why our Second Amendment, why our Constitution, is so important. Why the Second Amendment was there, when stuff like this is acts of tyranny, just absolute tyranny. And I wanted to share with you guys. Let's see here. Here's the fun one. Check this out. Switch over screens. This is the Cloud Pivot strategy. It's a political strategy outlined in 1966 by sociologists, once again, political advocates, and you can look these people up, Richard Cloward and Francis Fox Piven. It's a strategy of forcing political change to a societal collapse. In other words, this is an act of treason and sedition by this particular strategy that's going through. To collapse it through orchestrated crises. Isn't that what we're seeing today? This is the enactment of what we're seeing here. It seeks to hasten the fall of capitalism, overloading the bureaucracy and flooding with impossible demands and the debt, and then of course seeing the things you're through here to where pushing towards immigration, flooding us with illegal immigrants and everything else, and basically trying to collapse our system. Now, guys, that's just one facet, okay, of things that are going on. And I don't know if you guys have kept up with this, but there's actually been, there was another case in Michigan of someone from China trying to sneak in another biological weapon. That's right, in our country. This is the second attempt, like I think in, in less than a week, of people trying to overthrow or take over our government, or an actual threat to our people, through this is terrorism. I mean, we are technically all basically at war with everything. I mean, if you're getting biological warfare coming in through Michigan, and the other one coming in earlier week, I forgot exactly where that was, but that's freaking crazy. I mean, this is getting absolutely nuts. This is not even supposed to be. And, we don't really, I mean, this is a lot that's going on in our time. And now, I think there was a lot of political talk of Gavin Newsom taking and trying to run for president in the next election. But yeah, there's just no way after all this stuff that's happened in the field of, oh, it's peaceful riot. It's peaceful protests. People are just watching the car burn and everything else. And I'm thinking to myself, when was the last time everybody got together downtown and just watched the cars burn? Wow, that's an amazing thing. Yeah, I mean, it kind of blows your mind with everything that's going on, in our society today, and even in our hometown. So, it's getting real. But enough to deploy the Marine Corps, the president, they weren't going to do anything. They deployed the National Guard, and then right there, I guess there's supposed to be more protests over there at Camp Pendleton of, what they call the Hollywood Marines. Good luck with that. They're still Marines. I don't see that going over too well for those people and crossing that line. And last time I checked at Camp Pendleton, I don't think they had rubber bullets. So there's another thing to get a little bit serious about. But yeah, it's getting out of control. But I'm also seeing signs of hope in California, to where you're seeing a lot of other things to where people are tired of it in California. They don't want to deal with this anymore. And this is stuff that's going on all across, our country. But at the same time, they're talking about those numbers are climbing with all the missing kids. We went from 300,000 that RFK took and reported to over 500,000. And the numbers just keep climbing. So this is something serious, very serious. And then, I got if you guys haven't caught a lot of things, if you look, I shared on my page on Facebook, Malibu Dallas, some of you guys that know him, He's actually come up with some stuff there that you can actually start filing some things with mass filings in your county to overwhelm your local CPS office enough to get some of them shut down. So that was a huge thing that broke today. So like I said, things are progressing forward on many fronts, and that's amazing. There's also, yeah, now listen, there's been some scuttlebutt and stuff going on with Tanawa Downing, that a lot of people are very angry due to the fact that there's been no case filed yet. A lot of people complained about losing their filings and their affidavits. We're hearing a lot of that noise that's going on from a lot of people. Nothing happening, so we're not really sure what's going on, but we're slowly listening to the news and seeing what we can hear from that side to see what's going on and what movements are being made. But there's been a lot of people that have, hey, we're going right to SCOTUS. To understand the law, especially having an actual federal case in, one, you have got to have a case to lead the way. You don't go right to SCOTUS. It just does not happen. There's no case that's ever gone straight to SCOTUS. It must be held in a federal court under this particular courtroom it has to go into. Those particular things, and a case has to lead the way or shine the light of what you're going with, which is kind of like what we're doing, but it's not a class action, to where we're spearheading this thing as the tip of the spear to go through and say, look, this is happening here. This has happened to us, and to paint the picture of it's not just us, it's going on everywhere. And here's the evidence to support that. That's why we encourage everybody that contacts us and everything. Hey, we appreciate your affidavit. It's a victim's affidavit. And we encourage you to use the power of that affidavit and that information there to file your own personal case that's out there. And listen, one of the things that we do know is there's been a certain law that has changed, especially in Texas, for paralegals. So paralegals don't always have to work for just attorneys. They can also assist a lot of people that are doing some things in, I believe, pro se sui juris. So they're able to write a lot of those things, basically opening themselves up to their own personal market and not just working for one attorney. You can work for multiple attorneys or people and basically open their own business that particular way. But that was a change in Texas law. And with those that have those experience and so on and so forth, they can actually assist. We're in contact with one that's down in Florida, or I'm sorry, not Florida, but Texas. Right now she's pretty busy, but I believe she'll be coming on to the reckoning. She is part of the reckoning in a way. She's dealing with something we had to deal with down in Texas with a federal attorney. It's going to blow your mind. But once those things free up, there's a lot of those things going that I believe they're starting to assemble some things for a school or some kind of training center for those that want to do pro se sui juris, because it's not as if you're just going in and you want to settle. And let me explain the process of the federal court as we've experienced it. And understand we're still very early on. Is you file your case. It gets reviewed, and if everything's good and stuff like that, it gets past the markers, you get assigned a case number. Then you begin to have a period of time to where subpoenas are sent out, not subpoenas, notifications to the parties of the other side that they're being sued in federal court. And when those notifications go out, then it goes back and forth a little bit, and then you go right into, then you have a schedule for mediation. Now everybody says, well, we don't understand why is yours taking so long. Well, because with our initial motion, if you guys go look it up on Pacer, you'll notice that there's filings for subpoenas, because we were saying, listen, we have the evidence, but to make them provide the evidence, or the state to provide the evidence for the case, proving what we were saying. We know the evidence is here, we have a copy of it. But it's easier when you want it from the original source. So ours came from a couple subpoenas to actually subpoena some documentation that was from the particular state we're in Tennessee, to have them provide that to the federal court. And that's what takes a little time, because you got to understand, when you first file it, it has like 7 to 14 days before the judge reviews it. And then Sharon's back there in Beauty and Ashes. It is in the work for a pro se school for parents. Yes, it is coming. There's a lot of things going on for you guys. But you go through this process, and you do your filing, and then there's that dead space where everybody's notified, and then you come to mediation. And the idea of mediation, that's done to where you're assigned two different things. You're assigned a judge, and you're assigned a magistrate, a federal magistrate. And the magistrate is the one that negotiates. They're the mediator to see if you can come to a solution, or a lot of people say that the term you'll hear is settle out of court. And settling out of court generally means you've come to an agreement that nobody's really admitting any part of guilt. It's not anything on there. And a lot of that usually comes with a non-disclosure. Here, sign this, so you can't reveal anything else in your case or anything like that, or go on and so on and so forth. We have not even reached mediation because of where it's at, but you've got that 7 to 14 days where the judge reviews it. Then we had subpoenas go in there. Now, once the judge sees it, then he writes out the subpoena. They have, and whatever time that takes the judge to take, or his clerk to actually write those out and send those out, then they have 14 days to respond. And then once they take and respond, or if they miss the deadline or something, and then they have to send something back, and back and forth with that. And then they give them a harsher deadline immediately, 5 days or whatever, to produce those documents, so on and so forth. And then it comes back, and it goes back into the pile. And then he goes, and now I have all the evidence. This can now be reviewed, is what it comes down to. And then from there, they can proceed to schedule the mediation. So, this is legitimate. This does make sense. There has been something here that has happened. We need to, this is, where do you want to settle on this? And that's where you go to the mediation. We haven't even got the schedule for the mediation yet. So we're very early on in our case. Now, in mediation, like I said, you can agree to, you can settle out of court, you can do whatever, you bounce back and forth on some numbers, you kind of, go back and forth at each other. But at the same time, we don't negotiate with domestic terrorists. Once again, yes, we are using that term domestic terrorist because it does fit, and they do fit the definition based off of the evidence we have. As well as cooperating, like I said, with federal agencies and several others, that, this is not a joke. As for some of you guys people out there that don't understand that, this is very serious. That's why they're paying so much attention. They're trying to do a lot of things to shut us down. They banned me from TikTok, a lot of those other things. But this movement, the reckoning, and the We the People's case, is why it's so important, is because there's no going back. We want to go back to the Constitution. We want abolishment. We don't want reform. They don't need to be there. Under the Constitution, we have a right to, live peacefully and not without interference, and to basically, hold ourselves accountable and act like adults. But once you get to that point, and then that's rejected, then they have a schedule, and it's really great when you deal with the federal court, and a good one, and you're pro se sui juris. The court really works with you, and they give you some leniency with a few things, but they give you a set schedule. Once that stops and you're out of mediation, no, we're not going to negotiate, no, we're not going to settle, then you take, and then they'll assign a court date, and the court date is so many weeks out, and they have a very, very set schedule. So the shit you see on TV, the stuff you guys see on TV, we'll wear you out and you'll never see the court, and we're going to have so many motions on, that's horse shit. That's lawyer talk. That's sideways things to deceive you, because that federal court schedule will be followed very strictly. Some judges do get some leniency. You can file for some continued time to do things, so on and so forth. But the judge has got, hey, we need to stay on schedule, and they're very adamant about that. That's made very clear from everything that they send to you. So many weeks out, you have so much time to get your discovery in, you have so much time to get your witness list in, and then once you get close to the case, then you have to, and if you have a trial by jury, then you have to do your jury selection, and then you actually have your first day in court. And that's always, like I said, interesting. And then once again, if you are the, um, you're not the defendant, you're kind of the prosecution, if you will. You need to, you go first, so you get to pick your witnesses, your witness list, and everything else, um, and who you're going to call and the questions you get to call, and then you ask the questions. You have to understand the format of the court. A lot of that's there. A really good book that's actually going through. Not bad. It's a great for beginners. If you don't, is this book here. Represent Yourself in Court and Prepare and Try and Win a Civil Case. It's actually a very good book. Paul Bergman. I'm about very good through it. Like I said, speed read through it. So I went through it today, and it tells and gives you a ton of information. You need to self-educate yourself. It's a great resource to use, as well as many others. But understanding when objections, you're overruled, sustained, understand what that is, and then you can say objection, Your Honor, and then you can say, and the judge will say, okay, over what subject matter? This goes, what is this case? Does this go to the goes to the witness's integrity, goes to this and that? Some of those terms and so on and so forth are actually used, that you can go in there. And if you guys get a chance, if you are going to court, it's really good to actually watch. And I know sometimes it's sometimes very boring for a lot of people to sit and listen to testimony and question, but there's a lot that goes into your questions and how you ask your questions and the format you ask your questions. There's a lot to it, and there's a lot of skill that goes with that. There's a lot of lawyers that spend a lot of their life doing nothing but shuffling papers. And just everything's, in other words, all the litigation is done in paperwork. A lot of people don't see, or they don't want to go to court. For us, we want to put it on the record. We want those people to testify. We want that evidence and the voices to be heard and to go on the record. That's the whole point of this, because there's so many people that are hurt in the things that they're doing. This is not an isolated thing. It's not just one state. It's all 50. And it's scary with what's going on there. And it's not just here in the United States. It's all across the world, man. I mean, Canada's got their own version, England, Ireland, Scotland. I mean, this stuff's just got to stop. And, a lot of other countries look to us to lead the way. And that's, and that's kind of cool in some ways, but also it's kind of a pain in the butt. To be honest with you, to turn around and have to lead the way to do a lot of things, or give that, or be the person that leads by example. And there's a lot of people out there that's very difficult. But once again, fighting against a system, especially, a system that takes and with public education, everything else, it doesn't prepare you for anything like this, which technically every citizen should be able to represent themselves pro se in court, especially in a federal court. That's the way it was designed, for the common person to be able to make your petitions as we the people before the court, either amongst each other or against the state. That's just really, really messed up. So we're going through this the best we can. We're going to try and teach and let you know how some of this stuff goes through. Like I said, and we are working on there is things in the works for a pro se school for parents. Excuse me, especially, with CPS, because once this goes, and it's going to set such a high precedent in case law, you guys are still going to have to fight for yourselves. And that's one thing that you're going to have to watch, is a lot of the sharks and everything else, and the federal supposed attorneys, what's left with everything, to actually go into court and actually get some sort of restitution. Now, we've covered a couple other things, and we covered some things on my show on Sunday when it came down to the question about, hey, I'm filling out the affidavit, and how do the kids come home? Let me explain. Your child is also a witness in this particular case when it comes through that. And them being in state's custody or foster care or anything else, unless there's a active criminal case, or should I say conviction, They have no right to keep you from your children. Why? Because your child's also a witness. Because they have the ability to say, "Hey, yes, this happened to me. That was part of it. It's not just you. Your child also becomes a federal witness. That's how your children come home. Why? Because it's you and your children are a witness against your state and all of its actors, not just the people involved locally and all this other stuff, your whole state, the state itself, because your state has given away your rights. And no, I'm not kidding. We actually have the hard evidence of that. That's some of the things we turned over to the FBI to actually prove that. A lot of this stuff, they're putting a lot of things together and so on and so forth, but they're going to kind of let us lead the way with a lot of this stuff. And I don't think a lot of people really comprehend that compared to a lot of other movements or cases or anything else. No, mine isn't against the CPS system. Our case, Sharon and I's case is not just against the system, it's against the state that has empowered the system. See, that's where your fight's got to be for the right people and the right thing, because that's what they want you to get distracted with. Well, sue the caseworker. Well, sue CPS, sue the lawyer, sue the judge, do all these other, they're just actors. They're doing exactly what they're programmed to do because the state allows it. Whether they know it or not, these systems have been put into place for a long, long time. And most people don't even realize how long this stuff's been going on. I mean, that's how crazy it is. I mean, it goes back and back and back and farther back. But let's see. I think I've got this one here. And let's see what old Dally has got up here. And I'll show you guys what's going on here. Let me pull up his stuff here. And let me share this page. And you guys can see what's going on with Dallas. This is some of the things you guys can start fighting with here locally in all your things. And it's a great resource. I know Dallas has worked on a lot. We've talked a lot about this and so on and so forth. But he's put something pretty cool together with this stuff, and we're going to share this here. And of course, this is Dallas's page. And you look at this, the national shutdown of DCFS. And if you'll click here, click here, this will lead you to the actual thing. And this is the cover letter and everything else. This is everything that's in here. And you guys can go to his page, check that out. And the idea is just filling in the areas with everything here, including your own personal stuff. It even has an affidavit template just for this particular thing, that these things are going on. And then it, like I said, all this stuff open. You got to put all this stuff in here. It's basically just a fill it out, turn it, and just turn it in. It's just that simple. But you guys can check that stuff out. Like I said, here, I'll even zoom in. You'll have to forgive me. Well, we got to move this over here or turn this off. Sorry about that. But if you go through here, you've got this page. Let's see. Nope, you didn't see that part. Let me fix that. Sorry, guys. Here we go. This is what he's come up with right here. Now you guys can see it. Let me start at the top again. So you'll see this is the shutdown national packet. This is stuff you can do to work on closing your own local office or your county office or multiple subcontractors, so on and so forth. And like I said, you can click on the link. This is where it takes you. You have to click on the lower part of it to get to this. And you just, like I said, take this out here. It comes up in a PDF format. You guys can turn around and fill out, everything through here and start filing locally. Open cases, closed cases, it doesn't matter. And it lists just about everything on there, and it's all specific to your own personal case. So it's a great resource for you guys to have. And like I said, it's 13 pages. You guys can check it out yourself. It's just one of the resources you guys can check into. It's a great thing for you guys to take a look into. Keep yourself sharp, keep yourself studying, and keeping things on the up and up. And you guys are awful quiet tonight. So it's, you guys chime in here, say hello, even if anything. I know we've got a lot, we've got some viewers in here, and I know Darren's working, like I said, hopefully on his way in here. He had to make a quick run. I'm sure he'll be with us here and hopefully continue the conversation. Is sometimes when Darren gets in here, we get a pretty good conversation going. But I mean, what do you guys think of all this stuff going on with all these raids and not necessarily raids, but crackdowns and going back to the Constitution of what was now being considered and labeled as an invasion under the Biden administration to allow this stuff to come in? I mean, from my understanding, there's even been a lot of things that I've caught up on of job sites completely empty where they've just come and picked them up on mass subdivisions, and the tools are left there, the cars are left there, the ladders are left there, and everything's left there. That you may, I'm telling you what, Sharon, you may have rocked them all to sleep and they're off meditating and chilling out or getting some time, and maybe that's just what they need. Yeah, I don't know. It may have been one of those things. I know Chris had sent something saying, "Hey, I may get a chance to watch, but I may fall asleep." But we're trying to stay on schedule. We're trying to get things back in the swing the best we can. I know a few shows have started a little bit late. Some have ran over. We're trying to get a little bit more hold on that. Bear with us as we try to make those adjustments. Once again, we are constantly now under attack from multiple different angles, multiple different places, many different facets, facades. They try to ruin people financially, mentally, physically, spiritually. This is not a joke. With what they do to you, I mean, they will run you through, and they even work with other companies and organizations to do it. And like I said, sometimes you get caught up in a lot of things to where hey, you're doing the best you can, you're trying to fight them, and you're pulling from everything, thinking you're going to win something in a state court, and that's not what they want. They want compliance. They want you to obey, or they want control, or they want that bonus money. There are CPS workers that are so hungry. Yes, they get a bonus when they take and put kids into foster care. That is very well known. It's a little crazy. Um, but we've got our show lineup. Da, 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 da. Oh, there we go, guys. Sorry, we had a debt. Yeah, it froze. We lost internet completely again. I've called the ISP, and they're supposed to be sending out an updated modem that was shipped out or something. So hopefully that upgraded modem will help a few things. Once again, I apologize. Here's some of our shows right here. If you guys will look right here, you've got. Of course, we just went through gunning. Today being Monday, this is the late show. Tomorrow, you've got Danielle coming on between 5:30 to 7:30 for Okay. I don't know what's going on here, guys, but like I said, the internet doesn't like us tonight. You got new resources. So let's go through this. Sorry, guys, it's just constantly freezing up on us. We're in and out with internet connection. Well, guys, I guess we're just going to call it. Like I said tonight, unfortunately, the internet's having some massive issues with breaking things up. A lot of outages. I'm sure there's a lot of things going on, especially with all the riots and everything going on. They're trying to quiet a lot of things. Once again, we apologize. Once again, thanks for joining. Good, unfortunately, with everything that's going on. Be safe, protect yourself, make sure you and your family's safe. Keep one in the chamber. Keep your one eye open. Look out for things. Know your constitutional rights. We're going to wrap it up for tonight. Unfortunately, we're just it's not working with us tonight. Thanks again, guys, for joining us, and we'll try and see you tomorrow night, and we'll go from there. Thanks again, guys, and we'll try again tomorrow. Have a great night.
Screaming tonight.